Back at Maple Leaf Gardens, the Executive Vice President, Gil Stein of the Flyers. Our guest, I'm Gene Hart with Terry Crisp and Don Earl. And Gil, some time ago, I think you came to the realization that the old-style reserve clause, where players were locked permanently forever with no hope of escape from a team unless they were bartered from place to place, was a thing of the past. And I think your concept of providing players with a different kind of incentive, not only to be hooked with a club for a lifetime, but just want so badly to play there that they didn't need a reserve clause.
And I found some years ago in discussing the law with Ed Snyder, and I explained to him my view and prediction, which has since come to pass, that the reserve clause was anachronistic. It was consistent with his philosophy and as well as my recommendation that we have to make the Philadelphia Flyers the finest organization in hockey, if not in all of sports, so that the players will want to be with Philadelphia. Our fans are the greatest, our building's the greatest, and I know they love it there, and we wanted to just do our share and make it a great organization, thinking of the players. I think we've done very well in that regard, and you know, if some players want to go to New York because of the endorsements and the Big Apple, and some want to go to LA because of the climate, but hockey players with pride want to be in Philadelphia, and I'm very proud of the job that Ed Snyder and the whole organization has done in that regard.
I think one bugaboo that you've created, though, that whatever trade the Flyers make, they're unhappy with because it's like losing a friend.
It's true, we're a family, and I hope we stay a family, and I just want to say to the fans, these are troubled times in Toronto. We're going to pull out of it, keep the faith, let's have everybody praying and hoping, and our guys will do it, and before this night's over, we're going to turn it around.
Our guest has been Executive Vice President of the Flyers, Gil Stein, and Gil, for being with us, the following gifts.
First intermission guests receive a gift from First Alert by Pitway, largest manufacturer of home security alarms. Battery-operated smoke and fire detector, first choice of professional alarm installers. Trust Pitway's First Alert. Featured at Strawbridge and Clothier. And the...
That Toronto has scored 7 in the first period, 5 of those 7 via the power play. So quite obviously the discussion that Terry Crisp had with Moose DuPont downstairs at the end of the first period was very apropos. Flyers have got to shut down the Toronto offense on power play opportunities. The only other out-of-town action we have to report on, at the end of one period, Buffalo leads the New York Islanders 2-1 as Billy Harris has scored for the Islanders. Martin and Korab, the goal scorers for Buffalo. Terry, what is the atmosphere downstairs?
Well, Don, the consensus in the dressing room is that the fellas are still up. There's nobody down. They're still chattering. They're talking. They're moving. This game's a long ways from over, Don. The fellas know it. You know it, and I know it. Not just to whistle in the wind, but I'm certain you and Gene have mentioned this time about the power play. Harvey Bennett and I, working our way up back to the gondola here through the crowd, we're discussing it. It's a simple matter that their power play has killed us early in the game. Ours just hasn't clicked yet. They've got the quick lead on us. All 3 games so far, they've managed to retain that lead. We've got 40 minutes down the dressing room. The fellas, as I mentioned, they're still up. They still know there's 40 minutes of hockey, Don, to get back into it, to win it, and take it from there. And that's what it is down there right now. They're going to win it in 40 minutes.
Well, they can even win it in 20 if they're pressed to it. But is there any reason, any answer that you can think of why Toronto has been so strong so early?
Don, if I could give a quick answer to that, I could make myself $1 million in a hurry and ask about the best coaching job in the league. There's no one thing, Don. You could attribute it maybe to their power play that's clicking well for them. You could go the reverse and say possibly that the Flyers' penalty killing is not clicking like it used to in the past. You could say that they get up quicker than us, which shouldn't be the case when you're down two games coming into their building. You should be ready. And I know we discussed in our meeting today, Donna, we wanted to jump them early, try and switch them around. And notice the one thing the Leafs have done. They've completely changed their style coming out of their end. You noticed in the first 2 games, the game against Pittsburgh, the last one, that long lob shot, almost like a football pass, throw it downfield, let them skate into it. They haven't done that tonight only about once. Now they're moving the puck out in a set pattern. They're finding their wings, over to the wings, up the middle and coming. So they have completely reversed it also. So they're doing a good job keeping us off balance in the early going.
Okay, we're set to go. The Leafs are out, the Flyers are out, and for second period play-by-play, let's go Flyers, let's go Gene Hart.
Thank you, Dono. And I think the other thing, Terry, that you've got to overcome is that the Leafs are just oozing confidence. They just are out there flying, and the Flyers are going to have to do some banging and some scoring to try to level it off and get it back on their own. All right, we're out there with Neely and Boutet, along with Turnbull and Salming. And the Flyers go Lottensbury with Leach centered by Clark, along with Daly and Jimmy Watson. And now Red Kelly wanted to do a little one-upsmanship by putting out the Sittler line, but referee Ron Wick said no. All right, it'll be Wicks, the referee, with Pavlich and Willard Norris, the linesman. Stevenson right and Palmatier left. Had a good first period. Daly up, drives it down around the leaf end, steers to the near boards. Lonsbury fan, so does Jimmy Watson. Leach at the near point, flips it in on the net. Blocked by the skate of Turnbull. Boutet fails the first time to get it out, but slams it the center of the second. The Flyers drive it right back in, but it caroms on the circle left of Palmatier to Turnbull. He drives it back to center, and maybe the Leafs are now going to that flip out and make the Flyers work. Now Lonsbury in the left wing corner is bumped off by Turnbull. Trying to cover the puck up is Boutet, and he does it successfully despite Clark digging, and will have a face-off to Palmatier's right.
Speaking of lobbing that puck ahead, the Flyers were doing a bit of that themselves in the first period against Toronto here tonight.
Our last practice at home in the Spectrum, Don, before we left to come down here, our coaches, Freddie Shiro, Mike Nicolak, had us sort of trying to get ourselves accustomed to flipping out of our end, just to maybe give them a little bit of their own medicine, shake them up a little on us, and tonight you'll see it done the odd time, with our forwards hopefully skating down to get control of it also, or even maybe just to make them back off a little bit.
All right, Barber out with Dornhofer centered by McLeish with Joe Watson and Bladen, and they've got Ferguson out there along with McKenny and Errol Thompson. The Leafs dump at the center. Bladen cuts across away from the speedy Errol Thompson, plays off to Barber. His rink-wide pass blocked by Ferguson on the offensive side of center ice. Fires it in the Flyer zone to the right of Stevenson, bounces out along the far boards where it's played around behind the net to Barber. He can't control, has to go back the other way to the right of the net where Bladen looks up ice, and he plays lift at the center. Grabbed in there by Pelech, who had trouble with it, and Kelly almost scored on a play like that in the first period. Now Bladen with it at center ice, fires to the blue line. Palmatier with the quick glove, puts it down, and he's exuding confidence too. He's allowed 4 goals so far, and this is 4th game. Joe Watson keeps it in. Rink-wide pass at the blue line, scales to center ice, and the Flyers have to start over. Bladen off the Dornhofer on the offensive side of center, bangs it past McKenny, trickles down behind Palmatier, leaves it there for Jim McKenny, number 18, right out in front of his net, plays smartly to the blue line. Bladen tries to keep it in, but doesn't, and dumps it back in offside.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't care whether it's hockey or whatever sport you want to talk about, and Gene hit it right on the head when he talked about the confidence that Toronto is showing. Man, everything bounces for you when you're confident, Terry.
When you're skating, Don, the rest will follow. It's the old adage in hockey. If you've got the legs going for you, the passing, the checking, the shooting, it'll all fall in behind it. And right now, you said it, the Leafs are a skating club. They're skating out there with confidence. They're moving. They're doing what they want to do right now. Hopefully, we'll start to take it away on them, push them into their end, get that goal back quick to get us back in the tilt. Freddie Shiro right now doing a bit of juggling with his lines. He juggled his lines early in the last game at home, trying to get something going, and tonight he's juggling them around a little bit. Also, as you mentioned, he's got Selesky on left wing, switch Bridgman over to right.
Leafs dump it at center as they have Weir out there with Boutet and Neely down behind Palmatier, leaves it for Turnbull, takes Kelly's bump, gets it up to Boutet. Boutet's blocked in deep on the near side by Jimmy Watson. Kelly behind the net, has nobody to center to, throws it right out into the slot, nobody there but Neely, and away to Weir at center ice against Jimmy Watson, tries to dump it past Kindrachuk, blocked off by the O, but he loses it. Weir back, right wing pass over the line to Boutet, top of the right wing circle, down into the corner, around behind the net, tied up by Jimmy Watson. They are skated off the puck. Selesky in the corner, bumped hard by Weir. Puck still on the goal line to the right of Stevenson. Played up to Kindrachuk out along the right side, and he carries to center ice. Hawked by Neely from behind. Tries to get past Turnbull. He can't. The puck does. O follows it up behind the net. Steals it away from Neely. Takes another bump from Turnbull. Looks to center. Now Selesky is beaten to it by Salming. Rolls it up on the near side. Joe Watson retreats as Weir comes out. Headman's Neely, who comes over center and rolls it deep into the Philadelphia zone. As the fans looking for a Philadelphia penalty as Kelly at center ice skates by to the left of Clark, who has it past Sittler. Sittler now lets Clark go to the line, dumps it through into Joe Watson. It's blocked, but we have an offside as Joe played it in after Clark had penetrated the zone. 17-18 remaining, second period, 2-0 Leafs.
What'd you find out there? We found a Rustler Steakhouse with steaks fit for a king and big, plump potatoes with a creamy, buttery taste and salads with magnificent dressing and a fresh roll, all for about $2.50.
Come to the Rustler Steakhouse and get a taste of the Old West.
Marcel Pelletier, the Flyers director of player personnel, sitting right down to the right of the Flyers bench across the way.
McDonald, Sittler, and Williams out against Clark, Lonsbury, and Leach. Joe Watson fires from center ice wide of Palmatier, rolls off the side of the Leaf net to the far side. Now Carlisle puts it up the slot. Sittler gives it away to Bladen. His shot covered up and blocked by Tiger Williams. They jam up along the far boards. Bladen and Williams. In comes Pellick. Puck dug out by Clark. Right in front, and a tip wide of the net by Leach as he was in off to the side of Palmatier. They jam up in the near side. Joe Watson, left wing corner to Lonsbury. Got Bladen breaking for the net. Has nobody to give it to. Plays out to the far point to Clark. Clark past Tiger Williams. Back into the Leaf corner to the left of Palmatier. Pellick fans trying to get it out. Leach to the side of the net. Lonsbury scores! Ross Lonsbury makes it 2-1.
Well, the Flyers, Terry, starting to pick up a bit in their finesse and their passing as they set up beautifully for that first goal of the Flyers in tonight's game.
That goal set up by just good sheer forechecking in there by Clarkey, Reggie Leach, and Ross Lonsbury. Ross just spun right around, come out of the corner by himself. Ross almost missed his shot on that. In fact, I think he didn't get full wood on it. Spins around, goes to shoot it. Carlisle gets a piece of it. Palmatier kicked too early underneath him. And a goal 2-1 to get us back in this game by Ross Lonsbury.
By 3:18, Leach and Clark as the Leafs play it down the ice. Rolling to the goal line, Daly after it, and it's waved off by Willard Norris. Now Daly tries to come out. Lost in front. Ferguson is beaten to it by Jimmy Watson on the offside. Holds and carries out on his own right wing. Rick White pass to Daly on the offside at center at the Leaf line. Fires at far corner. Comes right out in front of Palmatier. Salming takes it behind for safety. Up past Daly. And Ferguson tries to get it out. Kept in by Billy Barber. A shot from the blue line. And Palmatier with a quick glove. Right out in front of his own net. Here comes McKenny away. Past Errol Thompson at center. Ferguson picks it up. He gives it away to Billy Barber. Barber now turns up ice. Rolls it to the Leaf line. Blocked by Salming. Wants to come back the other way. Sends it to Ferguson. Held by McKenny. McKenny's right on in a drive over the top of the net. Far side as he had the corner. Now Holmgren tries to get it out, but ices it as he runs over Turnbull. And after it is Salming, and will have an icing.
What is the effect, Terry, in a situation like that? Holmgren knew that he was going to take the icing, but he took a good chunk of Turnbull on the way. They got to think about those things the next time they're on the ice.
When that puck's coming around the boards like that, like when Paul had it coming up to him, there's Ross scoring it right there again. As I mentioned, right along the ice. Palmatier kicked early, put himself off balance, couldn't regain it. It slid right on the ice. Ross got his first playoff goal, put us back in contention again, 2-1. Paul made the right play on that, Don. Your first objective is to get that puck out. And if you take the defenseman out of the play, the puck's got to come out. There's no way you can stop it. Paul wasn't sure where it was coming to, so he just turned, took the defenseman out, and make sure the puck gets out of danger.
Butzetta nearly out with Weir. They've got Pellick back at the point. He has it. Drive through a screen, and Stevenson made the good kick save as he saw it at the last minute as Weir was in front, and it caroms out of the rink along the near side.
I sense a renewed Flyers build-up of confidence. To look at young Kurt Walker, American-born Toronto Maple Leafs player, who saw action in last year's series, but not this year.
Flyers try to come out. Kindrachuk on the far wing. Zaleski blocks with the skates. Dumps it in, and reading it perfectly was Pellick to squeeze the skates and keep it in. Now we're going to have a Flyer penalty, I believe, against Zaleski as Kelly's taken down. There's the play, and it's going to be against the Flyers, and it's going to be a high stick, I believe, against Zaleski. And the Leafs get another power play, and it comes at 4:41. 15-19 remaining. Second period, 2-1 Leafs.
Now, while it's still hurting, hear this. The DMC Tax-Free Income Trust Pennsylvania gives you income that is free of federal income tax, free of Pennsylvania income tax and personal property taxes. And all you need is a $1,000 initial investment. DMC Tax-Free Income Trust. See your securities dealer or call collect area code 215-988-1321. Discover how you can take advantage of DMC Tax-Free Income now.
Don Zaleski goes out for a high sticking at 4:41 as he challenged Mike Pellick on the Flyers' right wing across the way. And again, Flyers face the shorthanded situation for the third time tonight. The Leafs have scored on both power plays they've had thus far.
They've got the big five out there. Sittler, McDonald, Williams, and Turnbull with Salming. The Flyers go Lonsbury with Clark, Daly with Jimmy Watson on the left side. Leafs in their own end. Way to the near side to Salming. Salming now working slowly with a smooth stride up at center. Now looking through on the near side, finds Sittler, but it caroms past him over the goal line. If Jimmy Watson touches up, and he does, We don't get an icing off the side of the net. Shot by Sittler. And I looked for an icing there, but none called as Bob Daly along the near side lifts it into center ice. And the signal was made by the lead official, Willard Norris, waved off by the trailer, Matt Pavlich. Down behind the Leaf end. Swinging out to the left of his net and sending Sittler away as Turnbull at center. Clark blocks the pass. Sittler follows it up, rolls it into the Flyer line, chipped out to center ice off the stick of Jimmy Watson. Now Salming to the open right wing. Turnbull has trouble, or make that Sittler has trouble finding it. And it was kicked away to Lonsbury, who clears it down the ice. 1-5 left on the penalty. We played 5.5 minutes into the second period. The Flyers got a goal here by Lonsbury. 2-1 is Salming. Up at center. Into the Flyer zone. Comes right out in front. There is McLeish, but right back to Salming. There's Turnbull, and he was in position. Gets a drive, and it's knocked down in front by Daly as he had the first one. Excellent play, but then couldn't handle it. Now Lonsbury. Make that McLeish away. Throw in front from Bob Daly. Blocked off. McLeish has it in the far boards. Ices it himself. And the Flyers will have to make the quick rush back as Joe Watson behind the net from Stevenson. Looks, clears off the near boards and just gets it past Salming, up ice past McLeish. As we have 30 seconds on the Selesky penalty as Turnbull in his own end. Along the left wing boards, shadowed by McLeish, who swings back as Turnbull slowly to center ice. Rink wide pass to McDonald. He's in the circle. Drop pass looking for Sittler. The Flyers read it. Daly, the good play, doesn't get it out. Into the corner left of Stevenson. Kicked by Salming up where Daly will try again. And just scoots it past Williams, who picked up Salming's position at the right point. 5 seconds left on the advantage. Dornhofer out with McLeish. Here's Turnbull at the line. Through to McDonald. Sittler for the net. McDonald will drive. Blocked off by Joe Watson. Back to the left point. Here comes Turnbull. The penalty is over. Stevenson the save on that drive. Sittler banged into by DuPont, who wants to tie the puck up. Tries to kick it free. Sittler in front of McDonald. Shot blocked. Score. Oh, off the post by Sittler. Out to the near point. Kept in by Salming. Drives it back into the near corner. Joe Watson there. Sittler fails to center. It's kicked out to McLeish. He ices it. Oh, baby. And Sittler almost had another goal as he hit the post on an angle shot as we get the icing called.
If you haven't already picked up your copy of the Flyers 10th anniversary edition of the Flyers Yearbook, do so soon because the supply is running low. The nostalgia section just loaded with pictures from the Flyers' early years, one of the features of this year's tremendous book. Your price, $2 at the Spectrum. For mail order, send $2.50 to Champion Publications. They're at Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia 19147.
McKenny now circles the right wing boards, throws it through the goal mouth. Good save by Stevenson, and it's sent up to Holmgren at center. Got Kelly with him in Bridgman. Through into the Leaf zone to the right of Palmateer. Kelly in there along with Carlisle. They both turn the wrong way, but Carlisle recovers, zings it around past Thompson to the point. Clayton with a drive, right in on the net. At Palmateer, knocked down by Holmgren. The puck was wide. Now along the near side, Holmgren tries to keep it in to Kelly, does. Now McKenny grabs Kelly, and down in front it comes to the Hound. Wants to get a shot, and he does. And Holmgren, we're going to get another penalty as the Leafs ice it. Kelly was held, but then pulled down Thompson, and the Leafs are going to get another power play.
Palmateer also got away with slashing Kelly, Holmgren. We've got 12:08 to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Toronto.
I came to Midas to get Midasized, and I got the shock of my life. The right shock for my car, absolutely free.
Until April 30th, when you buy 3 of our LifeGuard or SuperGuard or SpringGuard shocks, whichever's right for your car, we'll give you the 4th shock absolutely free.
And if anything ever goes wrong, Midas guarantees to replace their shocks free for as long as you own your car.
So get Midasized before April 30th and get the shock of your life.
Absolutely free.
Paul Holmgren picks up the 4th Flyers penalty of the game as he goes off for tripping in some goal crease action around the Toronto net. 7:52 the time of the call, and Toronto gets another power play.
On the first shift, we'll have Ferguson out with Thompson and McKenny along with Pellick and Carlisle. Thompson has a goal in this series as Carlisle up over the center ice red line. Bangs it in, but shallow off the stick of Jimmy Watson. Watson will go around behind the net, far side to Daly. He finds an opening and sends it all the way down. Leaves 2 for 3 on the power play. 1:40 left on the advantage. Sooner or later, you'll get Turnbull, Sittler, Salming, Williams, and McDonald out there. As up on the far side, Ferguson away, and they've got a 2-on-2. With Thompson and McKenny. McKenny over the line, right wing circle. Going to get a drive, and Stevenson the save. Drops off to the short side. Cleared up to Clark. Clark loses it against to Carlisle. Earl Thompson back in the right wing corner to McKenney. McKenney at the top of the circle. Crosses over to Pelech. Pelech from the left point. Holds, closing in. Behind the net, it goes to McKenney. Center right in front. And Thompson missed the shot to the near side. He's screened off by Jimmy Watson. And it's cleared off McKenney by Ross Lonsbury to center ice. Coming down to 1 minute, and now the big unit is coming out as Carlisle tries to get past Lonsbury Ken, and Jimmy Watson shoots it into the Leaf zone. They have Carlisle out there still with Pelech, and they've got Sittler with Williams and McDonald. Now Salming and Turnbull will come out. Williams over the line in front. But the pass by McDonald was wide, and now Zaleski clears but not out. Kept in by Turnbull. Left boards to Sittler in front. Deflected back to McDonald at the right point. Holds. Right into the slot to Turnbull. Deflected by Zaleski. Holds at the left side. Turnbull still holding. He's got Williams in front. There's Salming a shot wide to Sittler. Sittler through in front from the impossible angle left wing board. And Stevenson grabbed the Sittler was looking for a deflection in.
I think Dave Tiger Williams, Terry, might be taking on a little more than he might be able to handle in the big count.
You got to admit one thing, he's looking a long ways up when he wants to argue with him. Good defensive moves by Jimmy Watson, killing that penalty off with 28 seconds remaining in it to Paul Holmgren. Jimmy was moving the man out well in our zone, taking him out, not letting that man tie him up, but getting him out of the way of Swain so he could see the puck. Jimmy was out there for most of that penalty, and we need a little more of that. Taking him out of there, but not letting him completely tie you up down in that end zone.
I did notice Tiger Williams trying to pull the same stunt he pulled in Pittsburgh by hooking that stick blade behind the back of the leg of Wayne Stevenson.
All right, Kindrachuk gets to draw behind the net. Joe Watson up along the near side, too far for Zaleski. Kept in by Salming to Sittler, top of the right wing circle. He's going to go right on in. A shot wide to the long side, partially blocked. To Turnbull a shot. And Stevenson the save. Sittler in the right wing corner. Behind the net, McDonald scoots past him. And Kindrachuk, with 10 seconds left in the penalty, comes out on the right wing at center. Bumped by Tiger Williams, taken off the puck, and back comes Turnbull with one last rush. Through into the zone, past McDonald, over the goal line, blocked by Stevenson. Overskating is Jimmy Watson as out comes Holmgren, and the Flyers dump at the center all the way down, and that'll be icing as soon as it's caught up to by Turnbull.
And one click of the clock past the midway part of tonight's second period. 9:59 to go in the second period. It's 2-1 Toronto.
Ah, you've been working in frozen foods again, huh, Price?
For hours. Great place.
Right.
Frozen foods are terrific value, you know, because there's very little waste in any frozen product. And this week, I've got a sale that will melt the coldest heart.
Price, your hot stuff.
Come on down to your A&P supermarket for this week's special on Tropicana frozen orange juice. 6-ounce can, just 19 cents.
Hoya Salming wipes his much-worked brow as he's seen a lot of ice time game after game in this series. Some people figure as high as 40 minutes a game.
All right, they've got Barber out with Dornhofer and McLeish, Bladen with Lapointe, and it's Neely and Boutet. Neely 3, Boutet 15 with Weir number 14. As McLeish is dumped out, Barber will take the draw. Right at his feet, McLeish tries to get it in the near side. Boutet kicks it in. Controlled by Weir to the near point to Carlisle. In again to Boutet. Wrapped up by Lapointe. Goes down alongside Stevenson's left. Neely bumps Bladen, and we'll get a standoff and a face-off again to Stevenson's left.
Bob Neely and Tom Bladen, a pair of number 3s. Neely, much the beefier of the two, dug the shoulder into Bladen and knocked him off the puck, but they subsequently did tie it up in the Flyers' right wing corner. Flyers trail it 2-1 midway through tonight's middle period of play.
Now DuPont out for Lapointe. It'll be Weir again. McLeish in through behind, taken by Billy Barber. Sets up behind the net as DuPont to his left, puts it up to Moose. Stick handles past the forechecking of Weir and lays off to Barber as the Flyers really have to work to get it out of their own end. Now a lift in by Bladen, and they go to chase it in the near corner. Barber is there. Right in front. Goes to McLeish shot. Beautiful save by Palmatier. Out to Bladen. A drive. And that time Dornhofer streamed as it went wide to the near point. DuPont along the goal line to Dornhofer. He's got McLeish on the far side. Going right around behind the net. As the Pelech dove to take the pass away. Here's McLeish behind. Wants to get it to the far boards to Dornhofer. Tries to get it back to the point. Blocked off by Neely. Dornhofer has it again behind the net. Squeezed off by Neely. Right out in front to Barber from Weir. A shot in front to McLeish. They jam at it, and Palmatier falls on it to stop play.
Gary Dornhofer ever missed a present around that visiting goaltender. Tried to upset Palmatier and take his concentration off the drive, but he was equal to the task as it was set up.
There's the secret right there, Don. Ricky Dorney putting good pressure on that end zone down in there, moving the puck around, getting in front of Palmateer, creating a disturbance, making him get off his game. We have to do that from here on in, Don. We can't let them stand around in there and make the pretty plays in there. We've got to send 2 men in right now, get ourselves back in this game. We're only down 1 goal. Get it back quick, then we can start to control our play a little better.
Jimmy Watson with Daly, Clark, Lonsbury, and Leach against Ferguson, who's out with McKenney and Thompson, along with Salming and Turnbull. Turnbull gets the draw. Swinton's around his own right side, starts past Lonsbury, away to center, too far for anybody. Collared by Leach at his own line along the far wing. Turns in his own zone, starts right up the middle. Comes with Lonsbury and Clark to the near wing. Past McKenney is pulled down, and we're going to have a lead penalty against McKenney.
First one of the period, and the first one since the 14:51 mark of the first period. Score is 2-1 Toronto, 8:43 left in the period.
Ransom Lift.
Co-motor forklifts.
Good ideas for the business of handling material.
Electric.
Quiet, clean, and rugged enough to do almost anything.
Performers with guaranteed dependability.
Gas, propane, diesel power.
From 2,000 to 60,000 pounds of lifting power.
Renting, buying,
leasing forklifts.
See the people with good ideas.
Ransom Lift.
Jim McKenney spinning Reg Leach off the play, causing a hooking violation to be called by referee Ron Wicks. This gives the Flyers a chance at the power play.
And hopefully that last penalty will be killed off against the Leafs was a turning point in the game for us. They didn't score. We're coming back strong. Now we get our chance to get back in this tilt.
Thompson and Ferguson out, and both of them are going to be dumped off or make that Clark. And it'll be Lonsbury now with Errol Thompson. Back to Barber at the left point. Holds. Crosses the Daly. Top of the circle. Through a screen. Partially blocked by Ferguson. Behind the net. Salming takes out Clark. And Errol Thompson tries to lift it down the ice and does. Flyers got their 2 power plays in the first game. One in the second period by McLeish and the other in the third period by Daly, who has the puck now at center. Up ice to Clark at the Leaf line. Over the line, but we got an offside as Lonsbury was bumped by the checking of Errol Thompson and taken into the zone. And there they go. Thompson make that Ferguson and Lonsbury.
Lonsbury with a helmet trying to get his right hand free. Takes a couple of shots, but it's high on the helmet. And now the uppercut of Lonsbury is finding its mark as they're battling right outside the Toronto blue line. Still going at it, swinging it around. Lonsbury trying to get his right hand free, and very quickly Matt Pavlich and Willard Norris move in to break them apart. It was Ferguson that dumped Lonsbury and dumped him to the ice and dumped him hard, and that's what forced the offside call.
Red Kelly right there as the boys are still trying to get disengaged out on the ice. You got to know Ferguson pulled something on Roscoe to make him mad. Ross is not your type of player to go looking for it. Not that he backs off very far, but after the play was made, whatever Ferguson did to Roscoe, he did it pretty plain and bluntly because Ross went right to him, talked to him, dropped the gloves, and decided he wanted a piece of him on that action. So it's 8:18 remaining in the second period. Toronto 2, Philadelphia 1. There we are right there. Number 10, Ferguson just pulled the feet right up from under Ross. Reggie was coming across ice, had to jump over top of him. That pull sent Ross offside on that rush down by our team also. So understandably so, Roscoe wasn't too happy with the call, but pick up the penalties right now. Ferguson and Lonsbury, each 5 minutes for fighting.
Red Kelly never changes expression. He and Fred Shero are very similar in that regard.
Well, give us about 2 goals up on him, then put the camera on him down and see what his expression looks like then.
Freddie's rarely changes one way or the other.
All right, Flyers still have the power play. Coincidental majors. Teams will lose the services of Ferguson and Lonsbury for 5 minutes plus. It's King Clancy to the left hollering, centered by the president of the Leafs, Harold Ballard, and general manager Jim Gregory in a dark suit all over in that peekaboo jury box behind the Leaf goal to our left. All right, Thompson shoots it down the ice as he's out with Lanny McDonald, Turnbull, and Salming, and the Flyers go with Daly, Barber, McLeish, Leach, and Clark. Up ice comes Clark. Works past McDonald at the Leaf line, over the line. Trying to get past the man on the near side, can't, and the Leafs ice it. Bobby was just trying to get them off and get penetrated so he can find the open man. Now Daly away to McLeish, who has trouble at center ice. Digs it out, now has to stop, drops it back to Barber on the near side. There's no rhythm right now on the power play. Barber through on the off wing here to McLeish. Through to Barber, over the line on the far side. Challenged by Errol Thompson. Goes along the right wing boards. Thompson takes it away and ices it. Flyers have had absolutely zero on this power play as they've got 50 seconds left on the advantage with McKinney off. Now they've got Kindrachuk out there with DuPont, Daly, Dornhofer, and McLeish. Dornhofer overskates, and here comes McDonald. One-on-one. He's trying now on the far side by Sittler. Sittler in, drive, save. And Lenny McDonald was bumped off, and here come the Flyers back 3-on-2. Daly, McLeish, and McKindrachuk. McLeish over the line. Cuts to the near side. Doesn't find the shot. He's got Daly on the far point. Daly at the circle, closing in a drive. Score! Bob Daly with Kindrachuk screening in front, and the game is tied at 2.
Palmateer is looking completely amazed, wondering how, from that bad angle, did that shot find its way in.
Tell you one thing, Don, if it isn't for slow motion, I wouldn't be able to see it myself. But take another look at that. Big Bob Daly's away to the far side. Kindrachuk parked right beside Palmateer in the net. Salming trying to take him out of there. And I'm not sure if O got a piece of that puck or not as Daly let it go. He's standing right there.
Did.
I don't even think O saw it going by him. Needless to say, big count puts us back in this game 2-2. A key play by Gary Dornhofer down at the far end also. Took Lanny McDonald out of the play behind our net. Just sat on him, kept him in there while we went down 4-on-3. So Bob Daly, 2-2 game going.
All right, Bridgman out along with Dornhofer and Kindrachuk. And Kindrachuk does get the goal from Daly. The Flyers dump it in, and Pelech takes a good bump at Kindrachuk as Pelech and Carlisle get it out to center ice. Joe Watson challenged by Weir, lifts it into the zone, knocked down by Neely, cleared out along the near side. Dumped in by Bridgman, winds around behind Palmateer, sets it up for Carlisle. So we're even at 2 with 6:38 remaining second period. Up ice on the right wing comes Boutet. Through into the Flyer zone. If it goes over the goal line, we'll have icing. It does, touched up by Jimmy Watson.
And for the Flyers, the official Kindrachuk from Daly and McLeish owes first of the series. And for the Flyers, their second power play goal of the series. This is a brand new hockey game.
Don, at the risk of repeating myself, that's a prime example of what we have to do a little more of. O went right to the goal crease, stood right there, stood his ground, made Salming come back and try and pull him out of there. We've got to have a little more of that by all of our forwards right now. With a 2-2 game, we're back in it. We can take control of it by taking a little bit of the game to them. Send the forwards in there. Take young Palmateer off his game. He hasn't had that much experience. Get him a little bit rattled in there.
All right, Holmgren centering Kelly and Selesky along with DuPont and Bladen. And the Leafs go Weir along with Neely and Boutet. And they have Salming and Turnbull out. Well, who else would they have out? To the near side, given away to Kelly. Behind the net, to the far side to Zaleski. He'll go back behind to Kelly. Blocks it off. He's got Holmgren in front. Tries to stop it right through on the deflection to Lonsbury. Or make that to Selesky at the point. Drives it down behind Turnbull. Past Holmgren to the near side. Salming rolls it up to Boutet. Tries to clear to center ice, does. DuPont blocks off back to the Leaf line. Salming taken off, and now cleared off by Holmgren as Boutet comes to the Flyer line. Rolls it down behind Stevenson to the near wing. Bladen around the far side to Zaleski. Looks up ice, hits Holmgren, one-on-one with Salming. Tries to go through Boyer, taps it back to DuPont at center. At the Leaf line, penetrates to the near boards to Holmgren. Down into along the left wing line. Right out in front, a shot by DuPont, and a good save by Palmateer. Holmgren along the right wing board. Out to the slot, Kelly with a drive. Blocked by Boutet. Kelly tries to fight Boutet, who slides it out, and here comes Weir, one-on-one with Bladen. Picked up by DuPont. Weir over the line, bumped off smartly by DuPont as back comes Kelly with a puck. With Zaleski and McLeish. Over the line, tries to bounce it in past Salming. And it's cleared by Boutet to center ice. Caught down Gene Hart. Back to the Flyer line along the near side to Jimmy Watson. Rink wide pass to Daly. Flips it past Salming down into the corner right of Palmateer. Boutet there. Looks to lift it out to Ashby on for the first time tonight. Don Ashby. As maybe Red Kelly figures his club is a little winded. On the far side, here comes Billy Barber. Tapping it past Neely. Down right around in front of the goal. Beautiful diving play by Salming to knock the puck free and then start up at center ice on a brilliant play. He's at the red line. Taken away by Dornhofer. Dornhofer on the far side. Misses the check thrown at him by Neely. And then the puck is cleared into the Flyer player bench on the far side. And Terry, the Flyers for the first time are coming at the Leafs.
More like our Flyers of old, Gene. That's a club we've known in years past. We've played with in years past. In playoff hockey, we're starting to bump, starting to take the play to them. And better yet, we're starting to forecheck in their end. We're taking a few more chances. We're not playing as cautious as we have to right now. With a 2-2 game in progress and 4:47 remaining in the second period, our fellas are starting to make the legs go.
Ashby out there with McKinney and Thompson. And they've got Pelech along with Carlisle. And the Flyers go Barber with Dornhofer, McLeish. Puck cleared along the near side by Ashby to McKinney up on his right wing at center over the red line. clears it in the far corner. Stevenson out, plays it back in the corner for Dornhoff, who has trouble with it. As he falls, Ashby slips it away, and McLeish to the open wing in the near side in the Flyer zone, taken out by Jimmy Watson. At center, comes to the leaf line up the middle. Tries to roll it through. McKenney, who blocks off, tries to lift it out. Blocked by Jimmy Watson along the boards in his own in the offensive left wing corner. He's pushed down on the puck by Carlisle as Ron Wicks wants to see who's sitting on the puck to determine where the face-off will be. He's pointing. I'm not sure if he said inside or out.
Well, we'll watch linesman Willard Norris. It's going to be in the circle to the right of Paul Matier as both teams take advantage of the stoppage to send out fresh lines. For the Flyers, it'll be Selesky, Clark, and Leach with Bladen and Joe Watson defensively. Toronto counters with Salming and Turnbull defensively, and up front it'll be Sittler, McDonald, and Dave Tiger Williams.
Go ahead, Terry.
At the end of this period, if all goes well done, I'll be talking with right winger Gary Dornhofer, getting some of his views on the game so far.
All right, Selesky with Leach and Clark. Joe Watson with Bladen against the Sittler line, out with Salming and Turnbull. Back to the near point. Joe Watson at the blue line. Has no shot. Goes past Selesky behind to Clark. And Salming ties him up. Sittler bangs into Selesky. The four of them behind the net. In a rat race, looks like a rugby scrum. And finally, Ron Wicks stops play.
And Sittler moves in a little too tight on Selesky, and the Bird takes exception to it. And a game that means so much, I can understand both parties getting maybe a little uptight unnecessarily so right here. In the other game in progress in quarterfinal play, in the second period, the Islanders, with Jude Drouin scoring, have tied up the Sabres 2-2.
One thing our fellas are starting to do right now, Don, and which Fred Shero stresses every game, keep that puck moving in their end. Don't let them tie it up. Don't let them take the face off and control it. Kick it loose, gouge it loose. Do what you have to do, but keep that puck in motion.
Clark, Selesky, Leach still with Bladen and Joe Watson. Still Salming, Turnbull, Williams, Sittler, and McDonald. At the circle to the left of Palmatier. Sittler dumps it off Leach's stick to center. Joe Watson covers at the Flyer line. Sittler after him. Joe retreats back in the zone and then ices it. That's not what he wanted, but that's the call it's going to be as it's touched up behind the leaf net by Ian Turnbull.
So now Toronto gets the territorial advantage as the faceoff will be deep in the Flyer zone. The circle to the right of Wayne Stevenson, who after what appeared up here to be a bit of a shaky start seems to have settled down and has tightened up immeasurably.
Mr. Mystique, Coach Fred Shero behind the bench there, and earlier the camera panned the Leafs bench and we saw Coach Red Kelly. His expression hadn't changed, but he was doing a little more pacing now that we have a 2-2 game in progress right now. With the faceoff coming into our end zone to the right of Wayne Stevenson. Clarkey against Stan Weir out there for this faceoff.
Pelech with Carlisle, and they have Neely, Boutet, and Weir, and the Flyers still with Clark, Selesky, and Leach, along with Jimmy Watson with Bladen to the right of Stevenson. Faceoffs are very important, and the Flyers get this one. Bladen swings around behind the net, sets up as the Leafs have a forechecker in just one, and away to Jimmy Watson along the near side at center. Clears it past Clark. It goes down in the corner behind Palmatier. Pelech is bumped by Clark. Neely tries to dump it out. Cleared in by Leach. In front to Selesky, and he was in position and bumped off on a good play by Boutet. As away comes Carlisle, throwing it to Weir at center. Brink wide pass looking for Neely on the off wing. Wants to get past Jimmy Watson. Does. Centers right out in front. A great save and a rebound by Stevenson off George Ferguson. A brilliant play by Wayne Stevenson.
And that's the type of a save by a goaltender that can really rally a club and bring it back.
I said Ferguson, and it was Boutet.
You got to have that. Wayne Stevenson following the play very well. Neely made a nice play coming out of the corner. Jimmy Watson leaning on him. Reggie Leach coming, not watching the player behind him. The puck skirts all the way out to number 15, Boutet in the slot. He let a quick wrist shot go. Steph just coming across in front of the crease. Caught him in the chest. And that roar you hear right now is that the Islanders have now taken a 3-2 lead over the Buffalo Sabres in that game across the river.
That's 2 in a row by Jude Drouin. He tied it at 2, and he scored the third goal, so that's a pair for Drouin as they take the 3-2 lead over the Buffalo Sabres.
Right, Ashby out there for Ferguson, who's, as the penalties have ended to Lonsbury and Ferguson, cleared in alongside Stevenson, played by Daly up to Lonsbury. Lonsbury away to Kindrachuk, forechecked off his stick by Turnbull at center. Now it's DuPont clearing up over the red line and rolling it down behind Palmatier. Up on the near side, Salming wants to clear it through and can't pass Lonsbury. In there is McKenney along with Kindrachuk, and we get a stoppage of play.
Faceoff will be inside the Toronto zone on the Flyers' left wing.
Freddie's still juggling
John
his lines
Beliveau, the first Conn Smythe Trophy winner, in action against former Leafs goaltender Johnny Bower.
And I think maybe, Don, if you had to give one player in hockey the Mr. Class title, Jean Beliveau could very easily take that one hands down.
I guess he could.
Reason I said calm down, Hart, I can't recognize some of our own players right now. Lonsbury, left wing corner, right in on goal, and Kelly tips it wide. To the far side, Lonsbury picks it up as the Leafs look tired. Fails to get it out to the point. Grabbed off, and the Leafs start out at center. Thompson with McKenny, and Turnbull picking up on the left wing. Thompson over the line. Swings past DuPont. Going right out in front, and Stevenson kept the pads tight against the short side and made the save as DuPont comes out along the near side at center. On the left wing boards, fires it past Salming, down behind the Leaf net to the far corner. McKenny tries to kick it free. Kelly keeps it in, but it rolls up to Thompson, away to center ice, picked off by Lonsbury. Has to wait for Kelly to come out of the zone. Now through to Kelly, past him off the near side to McKenny. McKenny clears down the ice, past Don Ashby to the Flyer line. Joe Watson has it. Up on the near side, gives it right away to McKenny, coming through to the Flyers line, fires it in the far corner to the Stevenson as the Leafs making a line change, and it's dumped to center ice. Lanny McDonald has it, fires it right back into the Flyers zone as McDonald is out there with Sittler and Williams, and they have Pelech with Carlisle. Cleared up to Barber on the near side, kept in at the point by Carlisle. Good kick save off the blue line, shot by Stevenson. Tiger Williams looks to center. Banged by Bob Daly. Digs the puck out. Goes behind the net to Sittler. He'll go to Carlisle. Right in at 40 feet. Stevenson wide. As it comes to the short side, and away comes Kindrachuk at center. At the Leaf line. Pulled to second and goes through to Barber. He goes down behind the net. Tries to pick the puck up. Jammed and hit hard by Carlisle. As Jimmy Watson takes the pass behind the net. Tries to clear it around the boards to the far side, and it caroms out of the rink. And we got a stoppage with 1:29 remaining in the second period, and we're tied at 2.
Investment management. Whether it's your personal portfolio or your pension fund, it's your future, and it deserves professional attention. Call the Girard Bank Trust Department, where the professionals give you the attention you deserve.
Flyers in Toronto tied a pair apiece. The New York Islanders have come from behind a 2-0 deficit to take a 3-2 lead over Buffalo in the other quarterfinal game under action right now.
Tell you right now, neither team wants anything to happen the other way in this period. 1:29 remaining. The Leafs got 2 in the first on the power play. Sittler and Turnbull. Flyers got alive from Lonsbury early in this period, and then the power play goal by Kindrachuk. All right. Barber is out there along with Dornhofer and McLeish. Then they have Jimmy Watson with Joe. And it's Carlisle for the Leafs coming out, along with Pelech, Sittler, McDonald, and Thompson at center ice. Now Williams picks up on the far side instead of Thompson. Barber jammed up here by Carlisle. Lanny McDonald tries to go through. It's at McLeish's feet. Back to Joe Watson through. Past Barber into the Leaf zone. Sittler looking on the far side for Williams. To the open wing. Lanny McDonald with 1 minute left. Rolls it down behind Stevenson. Goes in with Williams behind the net. Played around the near side. Dug out by McDonald behind the net. Joe Watson screens off Sittler and rolls it up on the right side to Gary Dornhofer. Through to center ice. We've got a 3-on-2 with the Flyers. McLeish over the line with Barber and Jimmy Watson. McLeish in. Shot. Good save by Palmetier from the board. Jimmy make that Barber behind the net. Pelech tied up by McLeish. Dornhofer overskates the puck. Given away to Joe Watson at the near point. Looks. Doesn't shoot. Goes behind the net. Dornhofer trips over Palmetier to the far side. Kept in by Jimmy Watson. Watch out for the break on the far side with 25 seconds left. McDonald is tripped up as the Leafs ice it. That's what the call will be, and the Flyers will get a draw on the Toronto end as play is stopped right now with 17 seconds left in the period.
And that's the amount of time the Flyers will have left to set up if they can control the face-off at their own end. Brian Glennie, who has been out of action throughout this entire playoff series, coming back after a recent leg injury, and we got to pile up around the Flyers blue line as few members of each club have taken exception to some of the physical style play that has erupted here in the middle period, but it's going to be back in the Toronto zone to the left of Palmetier as we're down to the final 17 seconds in this, the middle period of play. Perhaps the best period the Flyers have enjoyed thus far in this series.
Don, you recall Brian Glennie last year was the one Leaf hitter on the back line and was put out of commission in Game 6 here when his jaw or his cheekbone was shattered on a shot by Mel Bridgman.
Bobby Clark will center Ross Lonsbury and Gary Dornhofer with Leach with Daly and DuPont defensively.
Daly up to block off Turnbull in case the puck comes back to Leach at the top of the right wing circle along the boards. Now Boutet will go in against Clark as Weir has jumped off, and so is Clark, and Lonsbury will be in. Big draw. 17 seconds left. Leafs get it to the far side. The Leafs through a screen. Oh, and there was Clark, and Palmateer just made a save. Rebound by Lonsbury, and Palmateer with a big save. Now Neely looks up ice. Drives it off Bob Daly's stick. If the Flyers touch it, we'll have a stoppage of play because of the high stick over Daly's shoulder. We've got 4 seconds left in the period, and the Flyers threaten to take the lead.
Well, that should be pretty much it for this, the middle period, because the faceoff will be just outside the Toronto line, which is the point of impact where Daly made contact with the puck, the stick high above his shoulder level. It will be Norris dropping the puck between Weir and Clark, the final 4 seconds of period number 2.
Don, do you feel that the Leafs worried a little bit in this second half of the period?
I think it's been very noticeable.
They weren't able to reach the puck, and the Flyers were beating them to the draw to center ice, and all DuPont will do is shoot it in. Does, as the bell goes to end a good second period for the Flyers, with the score after 40 minutes of play, the Flyers 2 and the Leafs 2.
Better setting, Dorney, than when I talked to Moose at the end of the first period. We're back in the game now, a 2-2 tie going. Mr. Bump and Grind for the Flyers, the epitome of how this game should be played. Dorney, maybe give us just a quick resume of the first 2 periods of the game. The Leafs jumped to the quick 2-0 lead. We come back. Did our fellas change any style? Did you fellas do anything different? How'd you settle down out there?
Well, Ter, the same old story. You know, they got off to that real fast jump in the first period. Their power play is devastating out there. They really throw that puck around. I think those 2 point men they got out there, Turnbull and Salming, are doing a tremendous job. That's their key. You know, we weren't down. We had our chances in that first period. I think we could have got a couple of goals. And I think what got us back is we just started to grind it out a little more, you know, like the way we used to do it. And a little bumping and aggressive play in the corners. We got in the corners first. And at the end of the period, it looked like the Leafs were doing the standing around, not us.
Dorney, towards the end of that period, it looked like our fellas were coming into their legs, carrying the play to the Leafs. I think the whole thing turned around when you decided you were going to establish your real estate in front of that goal crease again. I've played with you for more years than I want to count right now to show my age. Dorney, you've done it. You've picked the team up. Freddie's gone with various line combinations the last game and this game. Does that make it a little tougher coming into here when you're 2 games down, not knowing exactly who you're going to play with?
Not really, Ter. I think everybody knows the system that we're supposed to play, and everybody knows everybody else. And, you know, you can't try too many fancy plays out there in playoff hockey. The checking is too tight, and the wings are really covered. So what it boils down to is the puck is shot in the corners. You know, whoever wants to get into those corners first and arrive there and also get in the front of the net. And that's where the games are won. And, you know, we have to keep doing it. I think this gave us a real lift, you know, coming back. And who knows what's going to happen in that third period. I'll tell you one thing, though. We're going to go all out.
Dorney, I've never seen you play this game anywhere else. The first 2 games at home, we watched the Leafs. You played against me. You knew exactly what they're doing. Have they changed their style radically coming back into their home building and so much as you can see out there in the first 2 periods? Have they changed their style around any whatsoever?
No, they're still doing the same thing, Ter. When Salming or Turnbull get that puck behind the net, their wingers are floating. They're starting to hit, you know, go to the center ice area, and they're trying to throw that long pass at them. And of course, they're still using the alley-oop, you know, getting that puck out. And you noticed that the fans were getting on the Leafs a little bit there, you know, when we tied the game up, because they seem to be standing around now watching. And you know, you just can't do that. And I think that was partly our fault too in the first couple of games. I don't know if we weren't ready or what, but you know, you can't take any team for granted. I don't care what the past record has been. You have to go out there and work, and that's what the game is all about.
Dorney, thanks a million for joining us. Back in there with the fellas, Fred Shero. 20 minutes, go out and get us a win, Otto. Thanks a million for joining us. And back upstairs to Don Earl in the gondola.
Thank you, Terry Crisp. We'll give you the stats of the second period at 3:18. Flyers got on the board to make it 2-1 Lonsbury as he drilled one through Palmateer from in close, with the assist going to Bob Daly and Bobby Clark. Then with the Leafs finally not scoring on a power play, the Flyers got one of their own when McKenny was off for hooking, and the Leafs gave up the tying goal as Kindrachuk in front of Palmateer tipped in Daly shot from along the right wing boards. O's first of the playoffs. Daly got 1 assist